Hello, friends. It's good to be here with you this morning. It is a cold, clear, sunny day at my house, and it's so bright that I could not sit out in the dining room where I often like to sit when I do these live videos because there was so much sunlight shining in the windows. So today I'm sitting at my kitchen island. The kitchen is sort of this way in front of me, and then you can see our family wall of pictures in our family room behind me, which is kind of fun. For those of you who know Calcutta, let me see. You can see the picture of Russ and Calcutta and me. Anyhow, this morning I want to talk about my theme, which is how to deal with hard, sad days, how we take care of ourselves. And just to introduce myself, I'm Lisa Qualls. I blog at onethankfulmom.com, and I recently wrote a post on this topic. And the post, I can only share so much in a written post, in like 800 words. So I wanted to today go through those 6 points that I wrote about, but elaborate more and talk about them with you. And if you have questions or comments, things you want to add, I would love for you to join me in that. Also, I wanted to show you a couple things. First of all, I have an Etsy shop with my friend Cate, and there's a little, you can find it in the sidebar of my blog. Pretty soon we still have an Etsy shop, but pretty soon Kate's gonna have a brand new website, and that's gonna be great. But I did want to show you, she sent me a package of a whole bunch of new things. And one of the things she sent me are these fabulous earrings. I don't know if you can see them. I wear a lot of silver, and I really love silver, and I like big earrings, so these are perfect. I love them very much, and I keep wearing them. And the other thing she sent me are these beautiful cuffs. And I will talk about these a little bit more, but Cate made me this one probably a year ago in the fall, and I wear it every single day. And it says, "Courage, dear heart," which is a quote that is very, very dear to me, and I've written about it and talked about it, but I wear that every day. And then for 2018, I was thinking about what my goals were, what was important to me this year. And I felt that one of the things I needed to focus on was more prayer. And so I was thinking about this verse. I'm going to read it to you, although I was going to do it later, but I'll do it now. Rejoice always, pray without ceasing, give thanks in all circumstances, for this is the will of God in Christ Jesus concerning you. From 1 Thessalonians chapter 5. And I was thinking about that verse and thinking, I need to pray more. How can I remind myself to pray more? And so she made me these little thin bracelets. They're really tiny. This one's copper. This one's a silver tone. And they just say, without ceasing. And when I see them on my wrist, it reminds me, first of all, to have courage, because I wear my Courage, Dear Heart, and also to pray without ceasing. So we'll get to the importance of that as I talk more, but I just wanted to show that to you. I will put a link to the Etsy shop in the notes for today's video, and you can also find it, excuse me, on my blog. So I've been fighting a cold. I didn't do a video last Thursday, partially because I was having a very sad, hard day, which is what we're going to talk about, and I was getting sick. So I will try very hard not to cough or sneeze while we're visiting together. I see some of you coming. Thanks so much for showing up. If you have questions or thoughts, we're going to be talking about how to help ourselves on sad, hard days. So please join in. We've got a little bit of time this morning, and so I'd love to hear from you. So the first thing I want to talk about in terms of how we can help ourselves on these sad and hard days. First thing is, they're all really basic, but I'll share them anyhow, is taking good care of yourself. Now, I know that means different things to different people. For me, that would mean probably getting outdoors and taking a walk. For other people, it might mean eating good, healthy foods. I think for all of us, it means trying to get enough sleep. Sleep is hard to come by, especially for me. I struggle with sleep. So getting enough sleep, all those things to take good care of yourself. And sometimes it might even mean, this doesn't mean so much on an individual day, but it might even mean going to the doctor. Especially, if you're dealing with deeper depression, it's good to talk to a professional, a counselor, a doctor, but taking good care of yourself. And I'm going to back up a little bit because I actually wanted to tell you about something that happened last Friday. So last Friday, my kids did not have school. This was a 4-day weekend for them. And for those of you with kids from hard places, you know what I'm talking about when I say that changing their routine is very hard for them. Our kids don't always have the ability to kind of roll with it. And my kids, they do best with a whole lot of structure. Now, when they were younger and when I had more kids from hard places at home, I was more intentional about structuring these days that were off, even posting like a schedule. We're going to do this, and then we're going to do this, and then we're going to do this, because knowing what's coming next is really helpful for our kids from hard places. But my kids are getting older, and I just wasn't that on the ball, to be honest. And we had a really crummy day. And I don't mean I was dealing with like big rages or dangerous situations, nothing like that, but hard, really hard. Like I had to call Russ a couple times because I was just feeling really overwhelmed and discouraged. And I finally got to a point about an hour before Russ got home from dinner, and I said, okay, everybody, you need to go to your own space because I need to be in my own space. And my space right now is the kitchen because I was making dinner and things. I said, so everybody go find another place to be and give me a little time alone because I really needed to collect myself. So I got a little quieter around here. I mean, it took several tries for sure. But once I had everybody where they needed to be, I started thinking, okay, what do I need to do to make myself feel better? So one of the things I did was I lit a candle that I like that has a really nice fragrance. That really helped me. And I put all of this on my Insta story. And it wasn't planned in advance. I just took pictures of everything as I did it. So I lit this candle that I really, really love. And, there's that light and the nice fragrance, and that was helpful. And then I had gotten some beautiful pink tulips. In fact, there, I'm going to grab them and show you. These beautiful tulips that were sitting on my counter. And they're kind of going now, you can see. But they were just sitting on the counter, and I thought, I'm just going to pause and look at these beautiful flowers for a minute. Pink tulips are one of my very, very favorites. And so I just looked at those for a moment, and I think I made myself some tea and just all these things to kind of calm myself down. And once I gathered myself a little bit more, I looked around, and my kitchen was just in disorder. I mean, it wasn't crazy, but it was just disordered. And I knew that what would help me feel better is to put that chaos back into calm. So I actually just started cleaning my kitchen. But I was cleaning and I was listening to something that I enjoyed, and I just had peace in my space. And that was my self-care. A lot of people wouldn't think cleaning the kitchen would be self-care, but I'm one of those people who it's calming to me to just do routine things sometimes and to bring order to my life. And as one of my readers stated, it's something we can control. There's so many things that we cannot control, but we can control things, small things, like whether or not our countertops are clear. So anyhow, I thought that was a really good point that she made in her comment. So anyhow, back to the 6 tips. So take care of yourself is the first tip. Do what you need to do. If you need to take a nap, take a nap. If you need to, and I know that's hard with kids. If you have little ones, turn on PBS, turn on a movie that you approve of, and lie down on the sofa and rest. I mean, sometimes we just need to regroup and have some rest. And then my second point is, if a task is too hard for you in that moment, choose a different task. And what I mean by that is, my work is almost entirely creative. It's writing, it's preparing for speaking engagements, it's prepping for a live video, doing social media, which is kind of hard and draining to me. Anyhow, I found that in last week when I was really having these hard days over and over, that I would just sit in front of my computer and I could not for the life of me be creative. I couldn't write, I couldn't organize myself. And when that happens, usually it takes me a little while to figure it out while I just waste time kind of jumping from one thing to the next, but really not being productive. And when that happens, I've learned the best thing for me to do is one of two things. Either choose a more passive task, so where I'm taking in information rather than trying to create information to send out. So read, watch other people's videos. I'm preparing for a training, an attachment and trauma training right now, so reading some of those things. So that's one way that I deal with it, is do something more passive. The other way I deal with it is by doing something more active. And an example of that would be, and more like physical, that doesn't require so much mental energy. So, cleaning my kitchen is a good example of that. Another thing is I've created kind of a big mess in Wagayu's room because I'm taking all the picture books off of his bookcase and choosing just the best ones to keep and then storing or giving away. I haven't figured it out, but I've managed to make a bit of a mess in there. And so getting up there and just sorting books is a whole lot easier than writing a blog post or working on a book chapter or something. So for me, if a task is too hard, I either choose something more passive or more active but not as brain draining. Or again, going back to taking care of yourself, sometimes I'll remember to go take a walk because the fresh air is so good for my brain, and my dog is happy when I do that, and she kind of makes me happy because she's not quite as challenging as kids are sometimes. Anyhow, so if you're joining us now, we're talking about how to deal with sad and hard days. I can see just some of you here. I see Chris. Oh, my sister Laura. Wow, you should be at work. Heather, my friend Cate that I was just talking about with the Etsy shop. So Cate and Olivia. Hi, Olivia. I should mention about Cate. She makes every single piece by hand, one letter at a time. She's got an incredible studio. She's going to be doing some live videos that you're going to be able to see if you like. But she will put on these little cuffs that I mentioned any word you want, or more than one word. Anyhow, you can see that if you go on the Etsy shop, but I just saw she was here, so I wanted to mention that. Okay, third thing. On sad, hard days, surround yourself with truth. I think when we get into a really low space, it's easy to start believing lies and negative things. Like I'll start thinking to myself, why am I writing a blog? I have nothing to offer to anybody. I mean, what do I know? And then I start to get anxious and think, maybe I shouldn't be doing this. And my brain can go off in so many directions. And we have to remind ourselves of truth. And for me, as a Christian, I find a lot of my truth in the Bible and also in books that are written by people I admire. I started 2018 this year reading a book by Shauna Nyquist called Present Over Perfect. Very, very helpful book to me. And of course, there's always C.S. Lewis and so many other, Elizabeth Elliot, so many wonderful, wonderful writers. So surround myself with truth. And for me, that would mean also taking verses that are important to me, and maybe just like this one, which I read just a little bit ago, just writing it on an index card, and I'll tape it up above my kitchen counter. Or sometimes I'll write things on Post-its and put them on my bathroom mirror. But I just need to be reminded of the truth a lot because I forget, or it gets crowded out, The other thing about truth is, and also that's why I wear these cuffs that say without ceasing, to remember the truth that prayer is effective and I can pray. So another way to surround ourselves with truth is to connect with friends who are good enough friends that they will speak the truth to us. There's nothing like community or a close friend or a sister who will remind us of what is true about us, about our lives, about God, and help us keep that in focus. I wrote something down. I just want to see what it says here. Oh, also, listening to music. Music, all kinds of music, is just good for our spirits, I think, and it can remind us of truth as well. Lastly, one thing I try to remind myself in terms of truth, and I've taught this to my kids. I learned this from Dan Siegel in The Whole Brain Child. Such a great book. I'll put that in my notes too. Feelings come and go. When we're feeling a really painful feeling or sad or angry, whatever it is, feelings only last for a period of time and then they go. And they may come back over and over, but I think when we're feeling really, really down, we feel like it's never, ever going to change. We're going to feel like this forever. And, I'm not talking so much here, again, about clinical depression. That is a different thing altogether. But, there's an alarm going off on my phone. I think I may have to turn that off. I cannot believe I have to get up and do this. Hold on. Okay. Oh my goodness. I even put my phone in a different room so that just in case I hadn't said it right, we wouldn't have problems. But apparently we had problems. As long as I had to get up, let me take a look at what. Oh, my sister says she has a week off of school, midwinter break. My kids don't have midwinter break, but I'm glad you do. My sister's a school teacher, 3rd grade. And then my friend Cate saying hi and thank you. Okay, so surround yourself with truth and remember that these feelings we have will not last forever. Another thing, surround yourself with beauty. I think that appreciating beautiful things is very helpful when we're feeling low and when we're having a sad or hard day. For me, it's like my tulips, my pink tulips, lighting the candle. I think, sometimes I just step outside on my back porch. Unfortunately, I live in a beautiful place in North Idaho. I can step outside and I can see so much beauty. And it might mean for you going to a beautiful place, to a park or someplace that you really enjoy, to surround yourself with some beauty. So, and there are all kinds of things that might be beautiful. I even at this point in my life, since I don't have babies around, if I'm at the store or at church or someplace, I try to actually admire babies, not in an aren't they cute way, but kind of in a aren't they marvelous, that God has made these amazing little people. And so I try to remember that that's a part of beauty too. All right, another tip, my 5th tip, keep life simple. And what I mean by that is when things are really hard or sad or you're grieving especially, you need to uncomplicate your life as much as possible. So if life feels hard, cook simple dinners. Keep your routines as simple as possible. Don't take on extra things. And if you have to cancel some things, that's okay. It's all right, especially if they aren't things that are, super, super important. If they were just extra things you were going to do. If this lasts for a period of time, it's okay to just simplify your life a whole lot. If you're grieving, we're talking about a long period of time probably, and that's another whole video altogether. But I just want to give you permission and encourage you that when life feels hard, it's okay to simplify. And then the 6th thing I wanted to mention is be generous. Generosity and gratitude, I think, are so good for our souls and our spirits. And I find that it does more for me, I think, when I do some act of kindness. And I know random act of kindness and all that. But, if I do something generous for someone else, I find that that's healing to me too. It helps lift my spirits from wherever I am. And certainly gratitude is very, very helpful. I keep a journal of, I've mentioned this before, a gratitude journal of things I'm thankful for about Russ in particular, and eventually I'm going to give it to him as a gift. And I don't think he'll see this, so I think I'm safe saying that. I hope so. Anyhow, but just making lists of things you're thankful for is very, very helpful. Okay, I'm going to check some comments here, see if anybody is. Emily. Emily says, do you have any tips for handling depression or sadness when you are busy and on the go and maybe don't have a lot of time on campus, work, church, etc.? Yeah, I think so. Like I mentioned, I think choosing maybe a key word or a key verse or something that you keep near, whether you write it down if you're at school in your backpack, wherever you put it, if you're working at home, put it up in front of you. I wear, my prayer without ceasing on my wrist, and also courage, dear heart, because I seem to need a lot of courage. And so just reminding yourself of truth, I think, is good. Also, depending on where you are, even in your busy times, you might be able to just step away. And even if you have to go into the bathroom and just do some basic, simple breathing. If you can get away long enough to do 5 minutes of yoga or something, that's wonderful. Yoga has been good for me in terms of just helping me be a little more balanced. What other suggestions do all of you have for how to take care of yourself when you are really busy and you aren't at home? Like, I work from home, so I certainly have more flexibility than a lot of other people do. I'm trying to think. Of course, taking care of yourself in general. Make sure you eat. Make sure you hydrate, all the basics. Because I think when we're busy, it's easy to forget those things and let them go. And we need to actually pay more attention on those sad, hard days to taking care of ourselves and just extending grace to ourselves like we would to someone else. So those are the things that come to mind right off the bat. And of course, like I mentioned, keeping life simple. Like, just don't put too much pressure on yourself. Just keep it simple. And again, look for the tasks that need to be done, but aren't as demanding in ways that are hard. Like for me, that's trying to walk away from some of the thinking tasks to do other kinds of tasks. Anybody else have a thought or a question about how to help yourself on those sad and hard days? I'd love to hear from you if you do. If you don't, that's okay too. I'm going to look at my comments and things here. Okay. Well, I will put in the notes above this video, I will put a link to the blog post with these 6 tips, so you don't have to actually remember them because I've written those tips down. If you want to follow my Insta story, it's pretty authentic. It's unedited, a bit like this, and so I just share little pictures and things are going on in our life. And last Friday, it was actually kind of productive for me, that as I thought of different things that were helping me get through that hard day, to just document it, take a picture and share it and say, okay, now I'm going to do this. Now I'm going to do this. And these are the things that are helping me get through this day. So I'll put a link to my Instagram as well. I think that's really all I have for today. And I will be back. Hopefully I'll get to do one more this week before I head to Seattle on Sunday for a week, which is crazy. I'm going to go to a training, attachment and trauma training by Deborah Gray, which is going to be wonderful, followed by the Refresh Conference at Overlake Church in Redmond, which I'm really looking forward to. I'll be leading the early morning moms breakfast. We'll be talking about courage and endurance for the adoption and foster care journey. And I will also be doing a panel of siblings. And if you haven't seen my sibling video, go to my YouTube channel. It's just One Thankful Mom on YouTube. But I'm gathering all of these live videos there so that they'll be in one place. And the topic of siblings is really very important to me. And so I'll be doing a panel where I'll be interviewing siblings of kids from hard places. And I'm looking forward to that too. And I'll also be on a panel of when you have really, really, really hard kids, is what I think the title is. And one of my best friends is facilitating that. Okay, Cate just said, creating something for someone or for myself helps me when I feel overwhelmed. Also going for a walk helps. Yeah, definitely walks. I'm not quite so good at creating things as you are, as we can see, since you create all these beautiful things. But for me, I'm trying to think, what do I create? I guess maybe cooking a meal for me is the closest I get. But yeah, that's great. And also I think just getting outside of ourselves, like maybe writing a letter to somebody or doing something to encourage someone is another thing. Making a meal for someone else if we have the strength. I'm not so good at that when I'm feeling really low. But that's a great point, Cate. All right. I will see you all again really soon. Thanks for coming by and sharing my live video with me. And I hope these tips are helpful. We all have sad and hard days, and it's good for us to do things to help ourselves and not just let ourselves sink deeper and deeper until we're in a pit that's just really, really hard to get out of. All right, with courage and hope and love for the journey, I'll see you all soon. Bye.